though.
Yeah, I'm seeing. There we go. It does look good.
Yeah.
All right, now.
All right, check
Now
1
there's
2. Check
sound.
1 2.
Now there's sound, folks.
All right.
Everybody can hear us now.
Let's hear it. Let's wait for the moms.
I'm kind of glad that the sound wasn't on because we were shit talking anyway.
There we go. We weren't shit talking.
Just a little
We
bit.
can't swear on an elementary
on
school.
Oh, I'm
place.
sorry.
Yeah,
Jeez.
sorry. We weren't talking smack. Are you allowed to say that? Here, turn your volume all the way down so it's going to pick up on the. All right.
I'm probably the only adult that will wind up with detention at Rupert Elementary. I'm going to have to come back.
Just for proximity, for
Yeah.
bad behavior in proximity.
That's going to give me detention.
Yeah,
I'll
Saturday
have to come
morning,
back tomorrow.
you can come out early and pick up trash.
Do kids get detention
N-
at the elementary school level?
I mean, I'm not going to say never. I mean, certainly not right now. We're not in a place where anything like that's happening. But occasionally, it depends on
It
what's
would
happening.
have to be a really egregious offense.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends. The situations are, after-school detention can be a challenging thing for families, to be honest with you,
Well, sure. If you've got your pickup of children in after-school activities to be like finely tuned, right? Then
Yeah,
then that could throw a wrench in it.
Right. And, we have to make the consequence fit the action. So for some things, there's an appropriate, like, hey, let's stay after school and do this, and that makes sense for
Right.
what went on kind of thing.
Right.
So
yeah. So but here, I mean, most kids walk. All kids walk.
well, they can walk. There's
They
lots
can.
of kids that get
Got
picked
it.
up, and we have a pretty big Rupert attendance area is pretty large. So
Okay.
while we're in the east end of town, for those people who know Pottstown and everyone that's over here, our attendance area goes all the way down. Where the Ricketts Center is. That's
Oh,
all
sure.
part of
Because
Rupert
when they
attendance area.
closed Edgewood, they changed the lines a bit, right?
That's part of it. Yes,
Yeah.
that is part of it. That area down there was part of Rupert's attendance area since the 80s when they closed Jefferson.
Right.
When they closed, if you've been in Pottstown for a while, when they closed
Yeah.
Jefferson, they made part of that area downtown part of Rupert's attendance area. I was a student here at the
Right.
time, and they were busing kids in and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
But
so.
the farthest any of your students lives away is a mile and a half,
The furthest is a mile and a half as the crow flies.
Oh, got it.
as
So
they
it's
say it.
a
So if you
little
put a
bit-
dot on the
yeah.
map at Rupert and went out a circle,
Right.
no more than a mile and a half.
right. But it might be a little bit longer than that when you have to go on the actual roads and sidewalks.
Yeah, depending upon where you live, you could have a little bit longer, walk.
Right. And they would have to go both ways uphill in the snow, as they say.
Oh, well, if it's 1950, yes.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Well, we are at Rupert School in the lovely east end of town, where my husband went to school with Mr. Moyer
that's
back in
true.
the day.
Back in the day, back in the
day.
80s, which
Yes.
depending on who you are, 80s is back in the day.
Well,
For
that's-
older folks, 80s is not back in the day.
Well,
but
that's
there's,
40 years ago.
yeah. Well, thanks for
Yeah.
thanks for the reminder.
Guess what? I was in elementary school longer
Yeah.
ago than that. So,
So that is back in the day to us. To some of our folks featured on the
Mm-hmm.
mural, that's not back in the day at all.
right. So let's talk about this beautiful mural. How did this project go from an idea to, or how did the idea, become an idea, and whose idea, and how did it come to fruition?
Sure. So it was my idea, and I stole it, like all good ideas. I
Right,
stole
of
the
course.
idea from other people.
You adopted it from somebody else's.
Yeah, I mean, when you look around Pottstown, you can see a lot of great artwork, a
Sure.
lot of great murals. And, I saw those and I was like, wow, we've got a blank canvas. We had a blank canvas here, this wall, and we need something. And so, I thought it was something that would just be a great addition to the building, a great addition for the community. So, started with that process and then, talk to some people and say, hey, who'd you have do these things? Because I don't know who does murals. I don't know who does
you
this
just
stuff.
start talking to people, right?
Yeah,
and finding out.
And found Promised Land Murals. And they've done a number of other pieces around town and started to talk with Carrie, her name is, and had her come in and kind of just talk through some of like what my vision might be for it. And brought a whole bunch of stuff out. You'll see there's stuff on there. We'll talk about that. And said, hey, here's kind of what I'm thinking. Here's some stuff. And
To maybe incorporate.
Yeah, to maybe incorporate. And the vision was kind of like, I want something that's going to celebrate the history of Rupert. Because the building's been here since 1928, so over 90 years. It's a lot of history there. And celebrate the people that went here, the students, the teachers. I want to celebrate the building, and something that also, anyone that's looking at it, even if you don't know exactly what's on it, it makes sense as a celebration of the school. So she took all of that, went back to her studio and kind of put together. It was pretty neat because she took, kind of pictures of stuff and ended up cutting those out and drawing and brought me back a design and was like, hey, here's what I'm thinking. I was like, wow. She really kind of like nailed the idea as we talked through some things. And so then we had a concept, but, these projects aren't inexpensive.
Exactly.
And they're not free.
Yeah.
So that was the next hurdle is, how are we going to pay for this?
Right.
So, I just started begging for money. I don't mind begging for money.
You don't GET if you don't ASK.
That's right.
As we like to say.
So I went to, people that are friends of Rupert, including the friends of Rupert. So up over here, which I'm sure is hard for the viewers to see, are our sponsors. So, asked a lot of people and got some yeses and got some nos, of course. But we have some wonderful sponsors. So sitting right here are two of them. Matt Green from Glocker Realty helped donate, and Wolf Baldwin and Associates helped donate. And then
a couple of generations of Wolves went here, so we're happy to do it. Yep.
Yeah, and Scott and Susan Bentley, who own Video Ray in Pottstown, we've worked with for the Big Brothers and Big Sisters, which are highlighted on the mural. The UGI Corporation, which is a company that I kind of connected with through the United Way.
Right.
The United Way, I help coordinate the drive every year, and they asked me to come down and speak to their staff a couple of years ago, and they've been super supportive, so they helped.
Great.
Bruce and Marcia Graham, who own the local McDonald's, a lot of local McDonald's, and are super supportive of Pottstown.
They really are.
They work with our McDonald's writing contest that we do every year that I help organize, so they've been very supportive of us in lots of different ways. And our Friends of Rupert, which is our parents group here, they helped support with some money as well. And let's see, the last would be the Schellenberger family, which one of our folks that highlighted on there. So Russell Schellenberger and his wife were teachers here, and when Russell passed away, they said donations could be given to Rupert in lieu of flowers. So we used some of those funds.
That's very nice.
Gathered up all those funds, and then there was like this pandemic.
Yeah, I remember that.
And that happened.
Yeah.
But we were in process already, which was great. So she was able to kind of, once we were able to do that, and we had to go through, of course, I had to talk to the superintendent and talk to the school board and get them to say it was okay. Right. And I kind of wanted the design to be a surprise because there's some special things that I'll talk about. And they were okay with that and said okay.
Right, so you didn't show them the exact concept because you wanted some of it to be a surprise.
Yeah,
this is pretty much what it's going to look like, but we want to have some things that are
the
surprise.
Superintendent was very supportive of that, and the business manager, and took that, because they take it up the chain of command there for me, and they were very supportive of the project as well. And once we got all their blessing, then it was a matter of the artist getting to work.
Right.
And she did. It got finished. The actual art itself was actually finished back in the beginning of the winter, which was not a great time to put a mural up.
No,
we, stored it until the springtime with the plan to get it installed, and our grounds crew guys here at Pottstown installed it for us.
Nice.
Did a wonderful job of, working together with me to kind of get it placed exactly where we wanted it, and up nice and high so that when you're on the street driving by, you can see it over the cars.
Right. Yes. Smart.
Once in a while,
you have a good idea. Yeah, because usually there's cars parked right here, so you want people
usually
to
there's
see
cars
it.
parked right here.
Yeah,
So
getting some props here. People saying that they love the painting. Bronwyn Damaso, Bronwyn of the Fort, says, it is beautiful. Art is something that children will enjoy for years to come. Pottstown needs more murals and less mural ordinances. Did you have to abide by any mural ordinance because you're on school property, or is it kind of like, were you able to work around that?
I'm not aware of, to be honest with you, mural ordinances, to be honest.
Okay.
So,
yeah, it might be, I don't know, maybe it's maybe the school property is outside not like putting a mural on like a business downtown or something, right?
I don't know if the borough necessarily has jurisdiction over what the school district puts
yeah,
on
that's
their
what I thought. Maybe
buildings.
it was like outside of the jurisdiction.
My joke was maybe they should team up with the chicken people, because the chicken people seem like they can get ordinances changed, real quick, matter of weeks.
Not actually.
I know. I'm just joking.
We like to joke about the chickens.
Cause controversy.
Yes, we do. Very, very nice. And let's talk about what's on the mural.
Yeah. So
Start with the R.
Yeah,
with the first R.
So in case you can't tell, it says Rupert Elementary School, and in each letter, there's different things that kind of celebrate all kinds of aspects of the school. So in the R, starting at the top, in the top kind of right corner, you'll see a green booklet. That's an actual booklet from the celebration of the 50th anniversary of the school. So that's a real thing. And if you go to our Pottstown website, there's a mural website that I worked on, collaborated with Carol Brightbill, and it has the actual booklet there that you can see if you're interested.
Right.
And a paintbrush. And so, one of the things that I wanted to celebrate was all the different aspects of what Rupert is, but what every school is. So one of those things is art. So besides the fact that this is a beautiful art piece, kids are involved in lots of arts, and the arts are important in Pottstown.
Yes, they sure are.
Very important in Pottstown.
Yeah.
So that's just one little symbol of that. Of course, there's musical notes. Music is super important in Pottstown as well.
Yep.
Growing up in Pottstown and going to the music program. Your son was a part of the music program,
definitely.
As was yours.
A big part of my kids' life, big part of Matt's kids' lives too. Yeah.
But the big centerpiece on the R is the guy with the big mustache. And who is that? That's W.W. Rupert himself, William.
Oh, I thought it was
Whitehead
Henry Ford.
Rupert.
Okay.
So, who is he? And he was never the principal here. The story always was, the kids would say, "Oh, the ghost of Rupert is here." They said that when I was a student here. No, it's not. He never worked here. He was retired by the time the building opened in 1928.
Oh.
He was the first superintendent of schools in Pottstown.
Okay.
And so
that's a good trivia question.
He retired, and they said, we need a school in the east end of town. And they decided to build a school, and they decided to name it after Dr. Rupert, who actually did quite a bit in education, wrote a bunch of books and stuff. There's actually one featured on here as well. And so he was sort of a big deal at the time, I think. But that's him, William Whitehead Rupert. He never worked here, but he was the first superintendent of schools in Pottstown.
That doesn't mean his ghost can't be here.
Well, I guess if you do ghosts. I don't really do ghosts.
No,
He's buried in the yard, right?
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, let's start some rumors.
No,
yeah.
he's not. I have a picture of when, back on the 80th anniversary of the building, I was reaching out to the local historical society and said, hey, tell me what you have on Mr. Rupert. Mike Snyder did a biography of him, but I wanted to see if there was anything else. And they found his gravesite and took a picture and gave it to me.
Oh, okay, where is it?
Oh, geez, now I forget.
Oh, wait,
exactly
it's not in
where.
Pottstown, though?
What's that?
It's not in Pottstown?
Not that I'm aware of. It's not like at the Edgewood Cemetery.
Okay, got it.
But where it was, I couldn't remember. But it's not here. I can tell you that for sure. It's not here.
None of the kids will want to come to school tomorrow.
No, or they will. They'll come with their shovels.
Yeah,
right.
But when I
We're
went to
going to
school
exhume
here,
Mr.
there was a water fountain and you could look up to like the ceiling, and that's always where they said the Rupert ghost was. And I was like, you guys are, even when I was a kid, I didn't buy it.
Right.
But, also on the R is a xylophone, again, highlighting the importance of music and musical education here at school. So next we have the U. Up top there is a geographical reader, which was written by William Whitehead Rupert.
Okay.
It's one of a number of books that he wrote, and we have a couple copies here at school.
Now, were these like school books or like manuals for teachers or something?
A little bit of each. So that's a geographical reader, so it's all about like geography and things like that. So that's like a school book that kids would use. But then he did write some books that were like teacher theory books.
Okay.
And I did look through some years ago, and believe it or not, a lot of the practices that are in there
are still
today.
valid.
If it ain't broke, right?
Yeah. So he was ahead of his time, I guess.
Yeah.
The highlight of the U, though, of course, is this lady who's on here, who would represent any grandparent helper that we've had, and we've had lots of them.
Yeah.
We have lots of grandparent helpers, foster grandparents, golden stages here. That's her name is Marge Foley. She passed away a few years ago in her 90s.
I remember.
Was a volunteer here for almost 20 years, well into her 90s, and just loved this place, and had children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren that went here. Kevin Krause, who you know. Kevin, if you're listening, that's his grandmother.
Sure.
And so she was an important lady to the school and to a lot of students that went here, but also represents the community connection, because there's lots of great grandparent helpers that have been here at Rupert and will continue when we open up again in full.
Yeah.
And, they do a valuable service to the kids, but she got as much out of being here, not just helping the kids, but, she wanted to be here every single day.
Right.
And it meant a lot to her. And
Right.
I know it does to all the grandparent volunteers. You get a lot out of volunteering. I know you do a
Yeah.
lot of volunteer
Yeah.
work. And, you get a lot out of that. And she got a lot out of that. And she loved this school. And Carrie, who did the art, she just nailed that. That's
it's
from a photograph.
It's such a great picture.
Yeah,
it
it
really,
looks just spot on.
Yeah.
So also on the U, there's a thumb buddy, be a Trojan. That's a pin that was around in the 80s.
So cute. I don't know if you can see it in the picture. It's so cute.
The 80s, back when Levi and I went to school here.
I think we might have one of those at our house.
Yeah,
possibly.
You might, because the reason I know it's from the 80s is because of the eagle.
Okay.
Back when Lem Stevenson was principal here, when I went to school here, we voted on a mascot, and I didn't vote for the eagle. I voted for the Trojan, I think, but the eagle won. And so then the eagle went on all kinds of things,
right.
Including there's a sweatshirt over here that has eagle. So at the time we were the Rupert Eagles, for a little while at least.
Cool.
So the P here, you see on the top is the Big Brothers Big Sisters insignia. So that's a program that we've been working with for a few years that actually connects local seniors from the senior center over here with kids here at Rupert as mentors.
Oh, great.
So it's a really great program, one we hope to get started up again when the world opens up. So that's featured on this. And you'll see again, like some jump roads and playground balls, because all that stuff is important to school. We all have those memories. That red ball, you all had that red ball.
Oh, of course.
Absolutely.
I can feel it, and I can smell it. Right.
I still remember the pattern it made on your skin if you got hit hard enough with it.
So, and the whole time that we've been here, since we got here to set up, and even now, there's kids playing on the field and on the playground, and there's been kids going back and forth on bikes and on little motorized little, Hot Wheels and roller skates, and, all saying hi to Mr. Moyer, and it's just really, it's such a, Mayberry kind of feeling just to be here in this parking lot and seeing all these kids playing at their neighborhood school.
Yeah, I mean, this is the neighborhood place. And I love it. The kids come out. We've got great playgrounds, great basketball hoops.
Yep.
And when the weather gets nice like this in the spring, it's usually very, very full. I mean, there's kids playing with the red ball, just like that, playing kickball. We got a great kickball to be playing that or something else. So, that's one of the things I love about Pottstown is that we are walkable and close.
Right.
And the kids in the neighborhood are up here.
Right.
They're here, but school's out at 3 o'clock. And by 3:10, they're here playing already.
Right.
They've gone home, dropped their backpack, and they're back.
And that's
playing.
one of the really nice things about living in a town like this, in a neighborhood like this, is that you don't have to arrange a play date for your child and drive your child to, 3 miles to go play with their friend. They can just walk over here together. They can walk on the sidewalks. They can walk over here. They're a couple of blocks from home, and they can play on the playground. And it's almost like the old days.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of the old days, you'll see there's a little girl up there. That's a picture of a student from the 50s, and she could be any student you want to hear in the 50s.
Sure.
This lady, this young lady at the time, she is someone who grew up here in Pottstown, went to Rupert Elementary School, lived her whole life within a few blocks from this school, had children that went to this school, came back as a volunteer, as a Golden Sage when she got older. She had 3 boys that went to school here. One of them became the principal of Rupert Elementary School.
That's my mom. Really?
That's my mom. So at the time it would have been Linda Cockle.
That's so sweet.
Yeah. So
that's really sweet.
But she represents any kid that went here. But that's my mom, and my mom literally grew up within about 3 or 4 blocks. Spent her whole life here.
Right.
Went to school here. Graduated from Pottstown. All 3 of her children went here. I came back to work here. She volunteered here the last few years of her life. So that's mom.
Oh, that's so nice.
That is cool.
I'm a little choked up by that. That's really sweet.
Well, I practiced that a few times so I wouldn't get choked. So also on there is actually another musical. That's the Rupert Band from an actual photograph from the 30s.
Wow.
The 30s. So it's interesting at that time, the kids that you see, like some violins and flutes and all. So, and those uniforms, I can't imagine the kids enjoyed them, but they're the real uniforms from there. And a friend of my mom
I'm sure
had
that was
those
pretty common. I mean, they look goofy now, but it's kind of cool that they had uniforms.
Yeah. And the actual photograph, you can see the ceilings in the building at one time were probably 15 foot high.
Okay.
They changed that when it became expensive to heat it.
Right.
They put a drop ceiling in.
Yeah. But so let's move on to the E. So the E, the highlight of the E is Mrs. Mann. So Mrs. Mann was a teacher here at Rupert, and she's really a trailblazer in a lot of ways. A wonderful teacher that when a lot of people saw that, commented, she was my favorite teacher. She was my favorite teacher. She impacted my life, and she did. I did not personally have her, but she was here. And one of the reasons I feel like it was important to have her on there is because she was a black woman teaching in an all-white school in the late 60s, early 70s, and through the 80s. She retired around 1990, and a trailblazer. That just didn't happen. But a wonderful teacher, a wonderful woman, and I think representative.
So that was before they kind of redrew the lines to better integrate the schools here in Pottstown.
Well, and part of her time here they did.
Yeah.
Around 1980 is when they closed Jefferson and integrated the school.
Yeah.
But she was here before that.
I think that's when my father-in-law was on the school board at that time during that process. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's a groundbreaker, and her son came back a few years ago. He lives out of state. I think he lived in Alabama or something. He came by with his child just to stop in and see the school and told me how much this place meant to his mom. She had passed away already. And it was a really special visit. And I tried to reconnect with him, and I couldn't locate him. I'm not sure. I think he may have passed away because I really wanted to show this off to him. But if anyone's out there and has any connections to the Mann family, Gertrude Mann is her name. We'd love to have someone from the family stop by and connect with them.
That would be nice.
So we also have, the We're Number One WW Rupert is something that was on designs and things back in the day, T-shirts and bags. Yeah. The Launching Futures, that was from like a newsletter that they had here. Again, we'll say back in the day all the time. Again, the books and things you see on there, which certainly, the value of reading is super important, of course, and our wonderful library and lots of our wonderful librarians. If you haven't been past the new school, we have a beautiful new library in the corner over here that is just like the crowning jewel of the...
Oh, is that what's in that edition
Yeah, in the corner here. Okay. That's part of the new edition, and that's that big glass thing above where the office is all library. It's amazing. It's huge. We have an awesome librarian, Mr. Freeze, who follows in the footsteps of many other wonderful librarians we have, but he's got the best library we've ever seen here. Way bigger than any of the other elementary schools.
All those windows.
So just in case people don't know where Rupert is, we're sitting at the corner of South Mount Vernon and Cherry Street in the borough of Pottstown. So if you want to come down and take a look at this mural and the school and the addition and all that other stuff, kind of set your coordinates for South Mount Vernon and Cherry Street, and you'll see the mural.
Yeah, what I always tell people if they don't know where the school is, I say, well, you know where McDonald's on High Street is, right?
Yeah.
Everyone does. Well, you go past McDonald's, you'll see Mount Vernon Street. Turn there, and you can't miss it. So that's the landmark that's easy to know is McDonald's. Let's see. We got the other R here. So at the top is a PTA program from 1970-71. That's before I was born and before I was a student here. And that's really indicative of how important parents have been. This school has had a tremendous parent-teacher group forever, with lots of great parents who have volunteered their time to support the school and support the children. It's currently called the Friends of Rupert. At one time it was PTA or PTO, and they've been amazing at continuing to support. So, family connections are important to us, and connecting with all the families and all the things that the great parents of kids that have gone here. So that kind of represents that piece. The big showpiece on here is that's Mr. Russell Schellenberger. So he was a teacher here, and as I mentioned earlier, when he passed away, money came in his memory.
That's very nice.
And I did have him. He was my 6th grade teacher, and a really nice man. His son, I had him stop by to visit and to see this before it went up. And we were just talking, and he joked to me. He said his dad would always tell him, on the first day of school, I would always kick the trash can across the room to show him who was in charge. And I said, you do know that's a lie, right? Because
he never did that.
He never did that. I never heard him lose his cool, raise his voice, nothing.
Right.
Not one time can I ever remember that. And, kids were kids, and kids did stuff. Never, ever did I ever see any of that from him. So he was a great man. And his wife worked here for a while teaching. She taught around the district at different schools, but ended up here at the end of her career as well. And, we were just honored and blessed that they thought of us.
Right.
And, again, representative of tremendous teachers we've had in Pottstown. Just a fantastic group. So even if you go by and you don't know who that is, you go, well, that's a teacher.
Yeah, that's a teacher. That's any teacher. Yeah. Right? That's
I like his polka dot tie.
Yeah, well, that's from a real picture of him, so that's a real tie he had. So also is the Rupert Eagles. That's actually from a sweatshirt that because
That
I'm
looks
guessing
like circa 1982 or something from the Rainbow Stripes.
that would be about right
Yeah.
because that was mine. That sweatshirt. I still have it because I pack racked some of that stuff. And
Right.
one of the men of items I threw out on the table and said to Carrie, "Hey,
You
here's
could
some stuff." And she picked that up.
You can tell how much this school means to people because they hold on to all these momentum.
Sure.
You've talked about 3 or 4 different things that came from people's private collections. The picture with the band, the Be a Thumb Body, your sweatshirt. Obviously Rupert's been making a big impact on people now for a long time if they're saving all this stuff. To be honest with you, I don't know how much stuff I saved from my elementary school. Not to say that it didn't have an impact on
Right.
me, but I
Elementary schools, from the time that I moved here until the time it was done, it was, build one school as a center in the middle of town. There was all sorts of different concepts.
Yeah, and I think I think lots of people when you have a small town feel and you have your home.
Are we having a sound issue again?
Yeah, we had a soundboard crash.
Okay.
It's back up.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, great.
The technical guy was on it.
The wizard.
Yeah.
The wizard was spinning the back there. All right. Yes. Judy Green is saying that Russ was always laid back, Mr. Schellenberg.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He was. So last is the T, of course. So at the very top is a safety patrol badge. That's a captain's badge. For those of you that are on the safety patrol, there's lots of safety
There was
patrols.
like all sorts of ranks. Like, so
Yeah.
what, you were like a cadet or you were a what was the lowest
I-
rank?
Patrolman.
Yeah.
Just patrol?
There was just like a patrol,
Just foot
and then
patrol?
here
Yeah.
there was a lieutenant and a captain. And here at Rupert, way back in the day, as we keep saying, there were 2 zones. One side had a captain and a lieutenant, and the other side had a captain and lieutenant. I was a lieutenant. I never made it to captain, but but that's all right. But that's a captain's
Serious
badge.
business, the safety patrol.
I
the
think
same-
my son Andrew was a captain at Franklin. I think he achieved captainhood up there at
Well
Franklin
done.
Elementary.
Well done.
And but they serve an important purpose. The safety patrol serves an important purpose today, as it did then, which is kids getting responsibility. So the captain had a touch it up and get it so that it's.
That looks great. I
Yeah.
think it's such a cool idea, such a nice way to.
Okay, I'm sorry, folks. Some of our equipment is starting to feel the effects of traveling around
Right.
the Tri-County area on 2 shows, Porchcast Pottstown and the Cast at Glocker. So I'm having a soundboard power problem. Our power connection on our soundboard is loose, and somehow the table shook,
Uh-oh.
and it turned our power off. We're back on. Thanks for sticking with us.
Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah.
And we're going to be coming up to a break here on Porchcast Pottstown shortly, and it looks like some of our equipment might need to get sent in for service. But anyway,
Okay. Back to the tea.
back
So we
to
were
the
on the
tea.
and I was just about to talk about the young man who's featured on the tea. He's a student that was here in the 2000s. And, again, could represent any student.
Sure.
One of the things that is the beauty of Pottstown that we talked about earlier, and as you look at this, you can see is that, we are a town that is made up of all kinds of different people.
Sure.
And I think that hopefully is evident in the mural as well. That's important to me. One of the things I love about Pottstown is that there's so much diversity.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I appreciated about growing up here and being here. So anyway, his name is Shamir Edwards. And some of you may have known him. He passed away a few years ago.
Oh, how sad.
So he was a student here. He graduated from Pottstown. He played basketball for Pottstown. Unfortunately, he got cancer and passed away, I believe, in 2017. It just felt like, we wanted to include some students in some way. And I felt like, that smile that you see there, he was known for that smile.
Aw.
And, his smile just lit up the room whenever you saw him. And just a very nice young man and representative of lots of Rupert students that have come through these halls. And so, again, if you don't know who he is, you still know
He
that's a
could be
Rupert
any
student.
student, right.
Any student.
Right.
So,
No,
that's
that's a
as
really
you look
lovely
through,
tribute.
you can see that. So that's Shamir Edwards, former student in the 2000s so for the time I was here. And so there you go. That's kind of the more information than you maybe even wanted to have about the Rupert
I love it.
mural.
I love it.
I'm sure I can go on and on and on.
Everything means something up there. It all has meaning, and
Right,
that's
and even
good.
if you don't know who these particular people are, like Matt said, that you can look and say, okay, well, I'm going to guess that that's probably the founder of the school, or who the school is named after. And this is, a student from a long time ago, a student from current day. You can look at it and tell what everything is, even if you don't know the specific people.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You can see how it kind of celebrates some of the history of the school, and just beyond that is a wonderful piece of art. And I think art is an important part of life. I mean, I don't know about you guys, over the shutdown and pandemic, I was looking for things to do, and actually tried my hand at some art. I'm not particularly great at any of it, but I did okay, and it was something that was enjoyable, and it can be therapeutic.
Yeah.
And art just enhances life, and I think we need to remember the arts in general. We have art here, but we have the music is highlighted and so on. They're all an important part. School is not just about reading and math and science and social studies, although it is about those things, and you see those things as well. But it's about all those things.
Yes.
So-
And especially at this age, at the elementary age, you want to foster a love of those things and a curiosity about those things, and to encourage kids to try their hand at, try music. I think 4th grade is when they usually start the music program and are encouraged to pick up an instrument. And if they take to it, great. If not, try something else, or maybe art is your thing, or maybe singing, or whatever. But you want to encourage them to really try. And if you try at a young age, you've got less inhibitions than you do at trying something as an older kid, I think.
And I think the benefits of all those things, for kids being involved, like your kids are all involved in things, and so are mine, and that is a way that kids make connections with school. I was just talking to a friend of mine the other day who, grew up in Pottstown, and we were talking about band because we were in band, and he made the comment, band kind of saved my life. It kept him out of trouble. It kept him engaged with something, and that thing was really important to him. For another kid, it might be football. For another kid, it might be being in the musical.
Right.
But those things are all really important, and we have to remember that as a school. I have to remember that as a principal, because it's easy to get bogged down. We're in the middle of PSSA testing right now. And
That's super fun, right?
yeah, that's reading and math and science testing, and that's important. Absolutely important. But it's not the only thing that's important.
No.
And it's easy to miss that sometimes.
I think back to my younger days. days in my teenage years, and I got a job working with the Parks and Recreation Department. You know, you and I worked together, and my park job came from being involved in swimming and sports. But then once I started working in the parks, that's really where I started to get the idea that, you know, maybe I could do this for a career, right? So that's how ultimately what sparked me to go on to work in Parks and Recreation and for the Forest Service.
Right.
And if it wasn't for that opportunity of being involved, not just in school, but in my community through my job, I might not have ever gone down that path to realize that I could make a career out of Parks and Recreation and conservation.
Right.
So I got to agree with you. It's more than just the academics. Obviously, the academics are what's going to get you there, even so you just fill out the job application, right? But being involved in all these other things, all these other aspects of school, is what opens up your mind and your imagination so that you can see potentially what the future brings or what your interests are and stay involved, stay connected, stay stimulated, right?
Yeah, I mean, and connecting with other people, because everything you do in a career, you're working with other people. There's a teamwork aspect, right? Well, all of those things, whether you're playing football or baseball or basketball or performing in a show or playing in the band, you have to work collectively, because it's the collective unit that succeeds or fails or puts on the concert. It's never just one person. And those skills are the things that sometimes people miss because they're too worried about wins and losses or just the concert. It's not about just those things. In school, it's about all those other skills that kids pick up. And I think most people, when they get older and they're in their professional life, when they're successful, they look back and they were involved in those things.
Right.
So
they learned how to play well with others.
Yeah.
Right? Which is one of the most important traits to have to be successful in a working environment.
Yeah, and I say that all the time. If we just teach kids reading and math here and don't do anything else, and you don't leave school knowing how to play nice with others, I use those exact words, then we haven't done our job.
Right.
Because that's only a part of it. Because you're not going to be successful in life if you can't figure out how to get along with people when maybe you're different. And that's a part of life, and that's okay. That's actually, everyone's different. And
something to be celebrated. Right.
Yeah, it is something to be celebrated.
Right.
I think that, again, it goes back to what I said earlier about one of the great things about Pottstown is that we are so diverse, and you should celebrate being different. And we don't have to be the same to bring something to each other's life and make that enhance each other's life. Like, Matt and I know each other, but we're very, very different. And that's okay. Right. We can appreciate each other's differences, and he brings a lot of things to the table that I don't, and I hope vice versa.
Right. Well, you wouldn't be on the show 3 times if you didn't.
Right? Our only three-peat guest that we have.
Wow.
And you know how Matt Moyer got on the show? He called up and he asked, can I come on the show to talk about the mural? And Amy and I said, yes. So
yes, of course.
If you want to be on the show, if you have a business or a nonprofit organization or you're involved with something in the community and you want to highlight it, just call us up. We'll get you on the show.
I mean, I really wanted to, for those folks that maybe weren't here earlier, another reasons I wanted to connect with you guys on this is that you supported this project. And as a I wanted to tell everyone thank you for that, because these things don't happen unless people support them all over the place. So, if you weren't here, Matt helped donate and Wolf Baldwin and Associates helped donate. And again, I want to thank Scott and Sue Bentley of the UGI Corporation, Bruce and Marcia Graham, who own McDonald's, the Friends of Rupert, the Schellenberger family. All those people, without that, this doesn't happen. I mean, this is a very, to be honest, expensive project. And, with this great support from people who are willing to support their community, that's a wonderful thing. And so it was an opportunity, too, to say thank you to you guys in front of lots of people, or at least at this point, the people that are watching, the thousands and thousands at home.
People that are watching our boring show.
Listen, it was
not boring, but according to the 7-year-old that was here earlier,
the
it's
two
boring,
kids that walked by, they said, "Oh, I've seen that show. It's boring."
I've seen our numbers, and I follow our analytics, and they're slightly outside of our demographic. Our demographic is basically women, aged,
all the moms.
Well, it goes younger. It goes basically 35 to 65 and over. So the primary watcher of Porchcast Pottstown is a woman, a middle-aged woman.
That's me.
I don't think that girl fit into the demographic.
No, but maybe she has a mom or a grandma.
That must be
She
watching.
probably has a grandma that's my age.
Well, actually, she
right?
does. That the little girl that said that has a grandmom who lives just right over here, and her children went here
Right.
around the time we went
Yeah.
here. I won't name names here, but
Right.
someone that I'm sure your husband knows and I know,
Right.
and lives right over there. So yes, her. I know her mom, her
love
grandmom's
that.
on
Like,
Facebook, so
it's-
She's probably watching.
she's probably watching
my
right now.
my mom said, we talked to my parents over the weekend, and my mom said after watching the episode where we interviewed Jim and Sue Kane, she's like, after that episode, I don't know why everybody wouldn't just want to move to Pottstown. So great, Mom. That's exactly what we were hoping for, to
There's a
make
lot of-
Pottstown so great. That
that
sounds
people
so
just
great
wanna come
that
here.
people want to move here. And
remember,
to
if
be
you
in a neighborhood school where your kids can just go walk and play at
Yes.
the playground, it's something very
Absolutely.
oldie time about that. That's really very. It's just, I don't want to say old fashioned, but
It's
it's just
Americana.
like Americana,
Mhm.
right? And you don't have to drive 5 miles to drive your kid to go play with his or her friend. They just
No,
live a couple
they
doors
can walk down the street.
They could practically string 2 tin cans with a string in between their house and talk to each other.
Yeah, I mean, it is one of those places where you can just, if you're a kid, you can walk out your front door within a couple hundred yards, or a bunch of friends, you could go knock on their door, come up to the playground
Yes.
and play here. Like, listen, who wouldn't like to have
Yeah.
this much playground right by their house?
Right, and
I mean, when you're a kid, my
I used to-
backyard was
Yeah.
very small.
Right.
But the school was here.
But
It's
the
all
school was
here.
your backyard.
And it's made for that. And,
Yeah.
and the kids use it all the time. They're over
It's
there
great.
shooting hoops
I
right
love
now.
it. I love it. And to see kids outside, playing outside instead of being,
There
shut
was
up inside.
always, this was one of the playgrounds that there was always a bunch of people on. Like, I even remember coming here when I was a kid, because my brother played Little League, and one of the Little League fields was here. And I would come to the games and hang out in the neighborhood. Of course, I knew kids that lived in
Yeah.
the neighborhood or whatever, but there was always, you could always find a crew of guys and girls
Yeah,
hanging out
pick up
here
and
at Rupert.
yeah.
Yeah, it was good. Here's the one thing I do want to say before the show's over, too, is I get asked to donate or to give to a lot of different things around town. Like, sometimes feels like on a daily basis. And sometimes I ask a lot of questions, and sometimes, to be honest, I don't give money to certain people or organizations. But when Matt called me, before he was even done asking, I'm like, yeah, how much do you need?
Yeah.
Because I knew that if he was up to it, it was going to be something
was gonna
good.
happen, right?
Yeah, and it was
Yeah.
going to be something good, right?
Yeah.
And good, worthwhile for the community here,
Exactly.
at least in this neighborhood,
Yep.
right? So it didn't. That's a compliment
was a
to you,
no-brainer.
Matt.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
It's
Yeah.
easy for me to give money to people who I know do the right thing on a consistent basis and have proven that they're for Pottstown.
Right.
Matt
Yeah.
Moyer is one of those
Yeah,
guys.
same. We've given to the bike thing, the bike rodeo,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
That,
We let for before these COVID times, the last few years. Well, we had an awesome bike rodeo in collaboration with the borough, going along with all the bike paths they have. Hopefully, we'll get back to that.
Right.
Gave away a ton of bikes.
Yeah.
And we got them. I know they're here because they've been collecting them. The partners that we have, Dan from Mosaic. I'm forgetting his last name right now.
Dan
Dan
Price.
Dan Price
Yeah.
is a big bike guy, and he helped get those bikes gathered, and they're around. So when things break and things get better, I know
But-
we'll have another one, and
Yep.
we gave away all those bikes to kids along with helmets. And in a town like this, listen, growing up here, the bike was everything. I was on my
Oh,
bike
yeah.
all the time.
Your
I
bike
could
was
get
your freedom,
everywhere I
right?
needed to go on my bike within 5 minutes.
I used to ride my bike to work, everything, the whole 9 yards. Yeah.
yeah. Yep. And you didn't even have beautiful bike paths back then. Bike
No, we
lanes.
did not.
All right. Are we ready for some news?
Yes.
All right. Somewhat in order here. Our friend Mike Murphy from Veterans Island Project wanted to let us know that they are having a cleanup this Saturday on he's like giving me all this military time. May 8th, Saturday, May 8th. Enter
Oh, 0800 hours.
Yeah, and Manatawny and 2nd Street starts at 0800. Rise or shine. They will be getting Veterans Island ready for Memorial Day and summer activities. Please bring gloves, hand tools if needed.
Strap up, trooper.
Yep. 8
Lock and
a.m.
load.
on Saturday. The concrete has been poured at the World War II Memorial and is ready for new bricks. New bricks can be donated in anyone's memory or honor. So on the Matt Green at Gloucester Real Estate page is the order form for the brick. It's $100 for the brick. If you want more information on that, Kathy with a C, Kathy at veteransislandproject.org.
You might have to scroll through my wall a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little bit far. It's down. It's
There's-
down a couple of
there's a
weeks,
lot
but
of
you posted.
stuff.
You have a very copious poster, so
It's
you just have
there.
to scroll down, but it is there. Or you can message me or Matt, and we'll get you a copy. Memorial Day motorcade is Monday, 31 May 2021. Line up at the Hill School alongside Goodwill. Leave at 10 a.m. for the Veterans Island Memorial Day program.
That's 1,000 hours to you civilians.
To our fallen heroes. So thank you, Mike, for that information. A little breezy out here this Saturday. Big weekend this weekend, as there was last weekend. Did anyone send you pictures? I think you might have won the contest for having attended the most events.
I think I did.
Yeah.
Although I did
John,
see...
John Armato attended. He
He-
reported that he attended like 5 different things.
Did he?
Yeah.
I
Susie
saw...
Kennedy was out there also.
Yeah, I saw
Yep.
Susie at the powwow, and then I saw Susie later on at the car show.
Yep.
There was
Yeah.
Porchtonians all over town. I
Yeah.
saw them everywhere I went.
Yeah, the place is lousy with them. The 6th annual student-run Native and More plant sale is at the Althouse Arboretum, 1794 Gilbertsville Road. That is this Saturday from 9 to 1. So there are native plants. That means plants that are native to this area, which are good for planting because they attract native species and they're good for the bugs and other
Everything.
critters. Yeah. So they will have annuals, perennials, herbs, vegetables, trees, shrubs, planters, and more. That is at Althouse Arboretum on Saturday, May 8th from 9 to 1. Also on Saturday, May 8th, the library, as we like to say, the Pottstown
Yes.
Regional Public Library, is having a May Flowers used book sale. So they have a used book sale each month, and each month it focuses on a different genre. So this month, on Saturday, May 8th from 10 to 2, it will be focusing on gardening and cooking. So there'll be a lot of used books regarding gardening and cooking. I'm sure there's going to be cookbooks. So if you need some ideas about planting or getting creative with your planting or gardening, go check out the used book sale at the library.
Nice.
Saturday, May 15th is a very important day. It's my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm getting the best present of all.
Happy birthday.
My parents are coming in for my birthday.
Nice.
I'm going to cry because I haven't seen them in a year and a half, and I'm very excited to see them. But
Yeah.
that's not why I was bringing up May 15th.
Can
Sorry.
we expect an edition of things that are older than Dad?
Oh, What's Older? We love the game of What's Older. What's Older is lots of fun. Yeah. I usually have to go to my parents' house to play What's Older or go to my in-laws' house to play What's Older, but it is a fun game. May 15th is the opening day of Farm. Is there going to be any special feature at the farm, Matt Moyer, on opening day?
Yes, I heard there's a local author that's going to be reading his children's book at I believe 10 o'clock and noon, and that would be me.
Yes.
So I'll be
Buy
at
the
the farm.
book, get it autographed, hear it read to you.
Yes, and
Yeah.
buy some great food while you're there too,
Yeah.
and visit with the
Yeah.
other great vendors there. But yeah, I'm going to be there. I'm excited about stopping in. I was there last fall one day,
Mm-hmm.
and going to do a read aloud. So kiddos, the grandmoms and moms that are listening,
Yes.
Yes.
bring your kids to the farm either
Yeah.
at 10 or 12.
Yep.
Hear me read my book and say hello, and maybe buy one and get it
Yeah.
autographed and all that good stuff.
Great. Get a photo with the author, maybe. So the farm is on opening day, Saturday, May 15th from 9 to 1. They've got great vendors. They do a really nice job. Smith Family Plaza is beautiful, one of my favorite spots in Pottstown. It's really lovely. And they did a great job last year, and I'm sure it will be the same and more this year. Don't forget, folks, lots of vaccines available, practically handing them out like Tic Tacs now. You do not need an appointment for the clinic at 575 North Kime Street, and there are pop-up clinics all over the place. So if we get to 70% vaccination here in Pennsylvania, we can drop the mask mandate, according to our governor. I will also give a shout out to Pottstown Go Forth. Very excited to have the crowd restrictions eased so that we don't have to worry about the crowds at the park. So the events happening on the 4th of July in Pottstown are the Rotary Club Parade on the morning of July 4th. That's 11 o'clock. And then we are having the Go Forth Street Fest High Street will be shut down between Charlotte and York. We're going to have kids' activities sponsored by ROG Orthodontics. We are going to have all the restaurants are going to be open. There's going to be beer. There's going to be vendors. There's going to be lots of stuff going on. There's going to be live music. It's going to be really, I think, really great. And our hope is to bring a lot of people downtown to show off what's going on downtown. And
I think it's a great idea to have it downtown.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
hopefully the business owners will take advantage of a captive audience.
Most of them are everyone has been very supportive. Most of them are going to be open. There's a couple that, that's when they take their vacation, and that's understandable.
Right.
Because we kind of sprung this on them at the last minute. But we, all the people that come into town for the parade, we want them all to stay and check out. The restaurants will be open, get something to eat, listen to some music, do some kids' activities. And then, of course, fireworks down at the park. And fireworks are sponsored by Precision Polymer Products. People have been very generous with their sponsorships this year so far. So that's what's going on. We're having a fundraiser on June 6th at the Iron Gate Beer Garden. We are putting together a basket raffle. We've already gotten some really great prizes for that. So once I get a partial list, I'll announce that. But June 6th at Iron Gate, that's a month from today, June 6th.
What's that? That's a Sunday?
Yeah, it's a Sunday.
That's where I'm going to come down and set up the open mic.
Yeah.
There'll be a Porchcast open mic.
Yeah, pop-up Porchcast.
Amy won't be on the show because she'll be schmoozing.
I can sit down for a minute.
Yeah, a minute.
Yeah.
But you should be in people's pockets.
That's what I do best.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'll have the mic set up.
Shake some people down, man.
Yeah, and anybody that wants to sit down and get on Porchcast Pottstown June 6th,
cool.
I'll have Porchcast Pottstown open mic.
Yeah, awesome. I love it. So stay tuned. And that's what I got for news and events. Oh, don't forget about the charity event at the library. Check out the chairs. Tom Hilton did a nice little piece on that in the newspaper this morning. And then that event is May 22nd from 12 to 3. Tickets are $10. Food, basket raffles, rides on the carousel, etc. And then they'll have the live auction for the chairs, which are beautiful. So if you are a parent or a grandparent, maybe you need to buy a gift for a new grandbaby, or you can buy one of the chairs. They're really, really lovely. And each chair features a theme, like a kid's literature theme. That's all I got.
Okay.
All right.
Matt Moyer, principal, Rupert Elementary School, unveiling his brand new Rupert Elementary School mural, sponsored by a whole lot of great people, including myself and Amy Wolf from Wolf Baldwin and Associates. Matt,
Hey, we
thanks.
don't mind patting ourselves on the back.
No,
right?
this is all about shameless self-promotion.
Absolutely.
Matt Moyer, thanks for having us, man. Thanks for letting us set up in your parking lot.
Yeah, thank you. This is great. We got a great day for it. And I guess I should say one thing. I'm not sure if he's listening because he's actually driving up here from out of state. But it's my brother Mike's birthday today, so happy birthday.
Oh, I saw the cute picture.
Yeah, he's older than me, so
Yeah.
50-something. I don't know. Older than me. I know that much.
Happy
and he went
birthday.
here to Rupert Elementary School
Yes.
for all his career.
Happy birthday, Michael.
Pottstown alumni, all that good stuff. So happy birthday to the old older than me.
The old Mike Moyer.
Mike Moyer, yes. I guess he's Michael. He's always been Mike to me, but he's Michael to everyone else. Somewhere along the line, he changed over to Michael, but
Right.
in my phone, he's Mike, and that's
Right.
the way it's going to be.
Gotcha. All right. I am Matt Green. I am your local real estate expert. You can find me, Matt Green, at Glocker Real Estate on the web and all social media platforms. Call me when you need help buying or selling residential and commercial real estate. Amy Wolf is the host
That's me back here.
of Porchcast Pottstown. She's the lady boss down there at Wolf Baldwin and Associates, bringing you fine legal service in the borough of Pottstown since 1973. Levi Wolf, Jack Wolf, what's Levi's brother's name? It just
Nathan.
flew out of my
Nathan,
head.
yeah.
Nathan Wolf, all graduates of
Yeah, he said
Rupert.
he just talked to you recently.
Yes, I just
Yeah.
talked to Nathan.
And I talk to
long
Nathan
ago.
on Facebook all the time, but for
Yeah.
some reason his name just went right. I could see his face, see
Yeah.
his glasses, his mustache, his goatee.
Yeah.
Couldn't think of his name.
Yeah.
Anyway, all these wolves deeply connected to Rupert.
Yes.
Anyway, our Porchcast. Let's talk soon.
Bye-bye.